Hello, welcome. My name is Rachel and I am an intuitive. Today I want to talk about what happens when patterns keep showing up in our lives. So patterns meaning either it might show up differently, but we continuously or repeatedly have the same emotion triggered. Or a similar situation keeps happening. So let's use an example of a guy who's in business and he struggles repeatedly with different other company owners or business people to be paid in a timely fashion. And so it doesn't just happen once, it happens with the next company and it happens with the next CEO or it happens with the next person. And so it becomes this pattern. And so that is one example of something continuously showing up like a pattern. So what do we do about that? Do we just think, oh my gosh, like everybody else has a problem in respecting boundaries, or everybody else, can't figure out how to do business properly and pay invoices or debts in a fashionable, timely manner, in a respectable manner? Now, we can do that for a period of time and just think, okay, what's the problem out there? What's the problem out there? What's the problem out there? But we're probably not going to get very far. And in fact, we're probably going to have the same thing continue to show up. And here's why. So if we flip it around and we go within ourselves and we look at, okay, what do I need to heal? What belief or stored energy or stored emotion do I need to release? What is being triggered inside me? What is happening here? What is it that I need to acknowledge in me? So if you think of life as always happening for you, every situation, even if it feels shitty, then is some gift in it for us to heal, for us to grow, for us to expand, for us to learn a lesson and then expand into the greatness that we are, right? But if we refuse to look at it, and the refusal is like, oh, it's those people's problem, it must be that situation or them or this or that. If we keep looking out, we're not going to get it. We're not going to understand how life is working for us, and we're not going to be able to heal, grow, and expand. So let's take the business guy again. If he looks within, he may discover that there's an element of naivete, an element where he's in denial, an element where the denial means that he doesn't want to see the situation for what it is. He might discover that actually the lesson is for him to stand up and be honest with himself, and therefore be honest with the other and say, okay, here are my boundaries. Meaning, this is the deal. Here's the outstanding debt. This is what you need to pay. I'm not gonna move from this spot until something corrects itself. So it could be that person needs to stand up for themselves. It could be that person is accustomed to believing that things will just work themselves out without them having to speak up. You see, there's a little bit of a denial or a naivete. Now, I'm not saying everyone has that going on, but if you're someone where boundaries are constantly overstepped, because that's essentially what's this example we're using, the boundaries, there are no boundaries. The other people are not respecting the boundaries because you have not actually said, here I am, I'm of value, I am deserving, I am good, and therefore I expect the respectable energetic exchange of service and payment in a timely manner. So that's using this as an example. Here's another example. A pattern where a person continually feels betrayed. Continually feels betrayed by friends, by coworkers, by whomever is showing up. Or they feel let down by, oh, I feel hurt, that person let me down. And then somebody else comes along, I feel hurt, that person let me down. So as soon as you recognize that there is a pattern showing up, it is your cue to not keep trucking along and like, oh, like a train going by, there's another person who let me down, I feel betrayed. Pause and take the time to sit and meditate and close your eyes and ask, what is going on inside of me? You can use this as a tool. Where am I feeling that hurt and betrayal in my body? And then sink into that part of the body and then ask, what is this really about? You see, when you begin to ask, what is this really about? You're inviting that light, this like a spotlight, to come in and go, oh, I'm glad you asked. Let me show you. Here, when you were a little girl, you felt betrayed because dad left, or you felt left out because, both parents weren't giving you any type of acknowledgement of your existence because they were busy, or they were whatever was going on. They were, had their heads up their butts. they were unaware. They were unconscious. Maybe one of them was never home. I don't know. But the point is there is a root. There is a starting point. There is, if you think of a seed and a seed of a weed, the weed begins to grow, but there was an origination, an initial starting point. And so when you sit and you ask and you breathe into your body, you begin to open up to understand, okay, maybe it's because I felt hurt when I was 3 years old because X, Y, and Z, or when I was 5 years old and X, Y, and Z. It's not about trying to find blame and place blame on parents or caregivers or older siblings or whoever, teacher, whoever it was that originally hurt us. It's about releasing the energy, the stored emotion that's there, right? And that is actually each of our responsibilities. It's each of our responsibilities to take care of us. Now, it can also happen that the seed, the root, is rooted in another existence, i.e. in another lifetime, another existence beyond this planet. It can also be ancestrally, something is passed down, a certain energy that develops as a certain belief. So sometimes it can be trickier to spot if you're not accustomed to this kind of work, which is also then helpful if you have someone such as an intuitive or a counselor or a hypnotherapist or a psychologist or anybody at all who is able to help guide you to that place. But the point is, one, that you ask, what is this pattern telling me about me? What is this pattern telling me about a belief or a stored emotion that is being held within me? Right? There must be some sense of curiosity, because otherwise it stays stuck and you're going to continue to manifest the same thing over and over and over, because essentially the universe wants us to heal. And it wants us to heal, and therefore the pattern will keep coming until we are able to work with it and go, oh, right? We've set ourselves free. So the asking, the curiosity, the breath, closing the eyes, pausing in life, sinking in, to see what is being held, what's being triggered in those situations. And sometimes it is, an emotion that wants to be released, and other times it's a belief emotion that wants to be released, a healing, and a lesson, right? A lesson that is to be learned, something that is to be learned, a new way of being, right? So if it's self-love or, self-love, self-honoring is standing up for ourselves. It is holding ourselves dear. And when we start to hold ourselves dear and love and honor ourselves, often the world then matches it, right? The world matches it. And if it doesn't, if someone shows up and, poops on our front door, but we are holding that amount of self-love and self-respect and self-honor, we know the rain is going to wash away the shit. We know the rain's going to wash away the poop, and we're not concerned, right? So we don't take it on, is what I'm saying. So if you're curious about this, or you know somebody where patterns keep showing up, or you are that person, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out. You can reach me on my website, rachelshonaker.com. Otherwise, please share this video if you feel guided to, and we'll see you next time.